Cornbread, you better pay attention, man.
Look.
What's got you so engrossed in that dang cellular device over there, man?
I was checking with Patreon, man.
Just like chili, man.
I was checking on the Patreon.
I'm doing work.
Folks.
Do we have any Patreon questions this week?
Somebody wanted to know when y'all were going to start considering for the basic course in 2025.
Good.
Had an inquiry about a speaking engagement.
Good night, 2025.
Yeah.
Look at speaking engagement?
No, I asked them what exactly kind of speaking engagement are they wanting. Like, give me some deets.
Yeah.
We got to have in deets.
Yeah.
Wanting to know if you fixed Resurrected 116 yet.
Look here.
Corn, you got to remind him of that.
Yeah.
I mean, how
you gotta
many
call
times?
me when I'm at home, and I'll do that, man.
You got to call him when he's not doing nothing and he's at home,
Yeah.
and it's between the hours of 12
On a
and 2
Thursday.
on a Thursday.
I'm going to tell you, Resurrected 116. Okay. Yes, I did that one at my house because Blake was sick, and that's been a while ago, and I think I posted the wrong file to Patreon, and it was a repeat of an old recording of Resurrected. So by the close of business tomorrow, I'm going to fix that. Cornbread, you better daggone remind me so I don't look like a fool on here.
For the 5th time. I will remind you for the 5th time.
Corn, that is the struggle of Patreon
I feel like
messages.
I'm the only one working around here.
Look, people, I'm glad that you're starting to bear some of this burden because people will get with you about things that they want Chad to do, and you just almost
I'm telling you,
you
is that
have
not
to
the
just say
wildest mess?
you just got to say no. No, he won't do that.
That's the wildest mess.
Yep.
Well, Corn is the hardest working man at 307 Project. We're going to make a plaque.
I wouldn't go that far.
I mean, I'm employee of the month, 27 months running, but
He's employee of the day.
Corn is the hardest working man at 307.
I wouldn't go that far.
I would.
The basic course 2025, I can't answer that question. We got to do some basic courses here coming up in 2024 before I start thinking about 2025. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, the way it's going around here, there might not be nobody left in 2025.
You ain't kidding.
I mean, good night.
I might surely not be here.
I'm in Ecclesiastes this morning. Ecclesiastes. I'm in the book of Ecclesiastes this morning because it describes my mood this morning.
Everything's meaningless.
Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher. Vanities of vanities. All is vanity. Some of your translations will say meaningless. All is meaningless. What profit has a man of all of his labor which he takes under the sun, which he takes upon himself, essentially, is what he's saying, under the sun. Vanity of striving after wisdom, vanity of striving after pleasure, vanity of striving after greatness. All is vanity. Yeah, man, look, people are sick, people are struggling in my family and your family and our families. We got all, it's just constant. People emailing me who I know who are, get these diagnoses that change their whole life and what they're able to do, and nobody knows what to do. And I'm just sitting here like, yeah, man, that's you're born into this world and you start to grow up. At least this is me. You start to grow up and, you get in your kind of teenage years and even into your early 20s or maybe your teenage years, and you have all these fanciful ideas of what this life is going to be, And then in your early 20s, you start to learn real quick that it ain't going to be what you thought it was going to be, this life. It's going to be a lot harder. It's going to be a lot of crap. It's with your circumstance and with the circumstance of people around you, people are going to start dying and going crazy and all this other stuff. And you're there and look, and then but then in your early 20s, when you start to look around you and say, well, this ain't going to be what I thought it was going to be. this life ain't gonna be what it looks like on Instagram or YouTube or something like that. Like, no, this ain't it. But in your early 20s, you can't accept that. You won't accept that. You're just like, this must just be a hard time. Surely it's going to turn out to be what I imagined it was going to be. You just can't accept that everything is literally meaningless. You can't accept it, man. But then you get on up into your late 30s, and I'm approaching my 40s, and you're just like, then you finally realize this is what it is. This is what it is, man. And this is all it is. That's this life. And what is the preacher, King Solomon in Ecclesiastes finally come to? What's the conclusion? There is nothing better for a man than that he should eat and drink, and that he should make his soul enjoy good in his labor. That's what he said. Well, this is what it is, so take every opportunity to find some enjoyment in the things that you put your hands to, with your time that you have on this earth. Find some enjoyment in that. That's the conclusion. Be content, because it is what it is. And, when you're going through this, whatever you're going through, and maybe you're feeling like me this morning. Chili's been feeling like this all his life. He laughed the other day when I told him. I told him yesterday, I was like, it's meaningless, man. It's hopeless. He's like, oh yeah, I've been knowing that. He's like, you've spent too many years clinging to your little thread of, you might be able to turn it around, Nah. So, when this stuff happens to me, though, man, when you realize when you come to the same conclusion that King Solomon came to in Ecclesiastes, all it does to me is just make me realize that the literal only thing that matters is who I am in Christ. Like, what you person on the internet, if you're even a real person and have a real brain about you, like what you say about me, it don't freaking matter, man. What any all this crap that's happening in the country, in the world, it don't freaking make a hill of beans, dude. Who cares? I mean, who freaking cares? The money I make, the taxes I pay, who gives a crap, dude? It really makes you, when people around you are suffering and sick and hurting and all, it just makes you realize the only thing that has any possible meaning amongst all of this is who I am in Christ. That is it, man. That is it. And what I'm doing in terms of when you realize that's the only thing that's important, it makes you think about, well, what the crap are you doing, man? Are you wielding the gospel to plunder Satan's kingdom of darkness before you die and before the people that you know that you could potentially, with the power of Jesus Christ, lead into the marvelous light of the gospel? They're dying. They're about to suffer the fires of hell. And you what are you doing, man? It makes me also think about Job in the book of Job and what Job went through and how Job chose, I think he understood this. Like, Job praised the Lord God in his wealth and in his, his greatness and he praised the Lord God while he was sitting in a pile of freaking ashes, scraping his sores with shards of a clay pot. And he lost everything. He praised him when it was good. He praised him when it was bad. He praised him when he was healthy. He praised him when he was sick. He praised him when he had everything. He praised him when he had nothing. That's what you got to do, man. And you got to just accept the fact that this is what this world is. And a lot of y'all might be asking, why is this world this way? Why is it this way? It's because the world that we are currently living in is not the example of how it or what it was created to be. The world fell from its created design, its original created design, when sin entered the world through man, well, through Satan and man's choice to do what the great deceiver asked him to do. And so this world, there was a curse placed on this world thousands of years ago in the very beginning when it was created to be a perfect place where man was walking with God here on the earth. Man knew God. Man had conversation and relationship face to face with God, his creator, where the earth provided everything for man that he needed, where man's body was made to live eternally, where death was not part of the equation, but the curse of death entered into the equation by way of man's sin. And so we're all living under the curse of death. And nobody's been able to freaking solve that. It's the problem, it's the single biggest problem that humanity can't figure out. And my man Cornbread said something yesterday that really rocked me back, man. He said, you know what, man? These people are worshiping these doctors. They're worshiping doctors because they think that doctor's going to free them or set them free from the curse of death.
Absolutely.
No, man, he ain't going to do it. You are going to die because that curse is upon you. And everything in this world is deteriorating. That's a law of science. And that's just what it is, man. You better freaking get over it. And you better, I'm going to tell you what right now, buddy, you better run to Jesus Christ and his gospel. You better run to him. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's a time that is coming where people who don't choose to run to Christ are going to crawl into caves and pray that the rocks in the caves would fall on them to kill them. That's how bad it's about to get. So that's my mood this morning. Y'all got any commentary on that?
I can't add nothing to that. That's the best explanation I have. And I ain't just trying to razz you up, period. Me trying to add anything to that would just butcher it. Deuces, YouTube. Unplug the podcast.
Nuff said.
No joke.
What do you got, Blake?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Corn. I think you nailed it. That's good. I mean,
You've come around. Just took you 30-something years.
You have arrived.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where I'm at this morning, YouTube. Okay. Well, all right, we'll move along then. We've got some interesting things to talk about today. First of all, what you see here before you on this YouTube channel. This is the majestic freaking panda.
Panda?
I mean,
Polar bear.
Chad.
hold on. Hold on. Cut that. Cut that. All right, we're starting back from the top.
Take two.
All right. What you see here before you, YouTube, is the majestic freaking polar bear. Okay? This is
Panda.
0.999% fine gold. 24 carats, 1/10 of an ounce of real, genuine Canadian gold. You know, it's been a dream of mine in my life to own Canadian gold. But I've been so poor all of my life, I've never been able to afford to buy none. So in lieu of my poorness, Manfred Kampf has pulled through and mailed me real mint Canadian gold, the majestic polar bear. And here it is. That's right. That's right, YouTube. And along with that, I do also have from my friend Manfred Kampf 2 mint Canadian dollars right here. $1. The Bank of Canada. These are mint.
Who's them women on there?
That's Queen Elizabeth.
Both of them?
Yeah, I think that's Queen Elizabeth. Doesn't really say, but if I had to guess, that's who it is.
That topping looks like her.
Well, I think that top one's Queen Elizabeth III.
Y'all know that gold's meaningless.
I think it's Elizabeth Taylor.
Might be Taylor Swift.
Could be.
So, I just thought that was really a magnificent piece right there.
Well, it is pretty
really
awesome.
Magnificent piece. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm going to have to take it out of this case here.
No.
I've got to touch it, man.
No.
You can't do that.
You can't.
I've got to touch it, man.
It's really disrespectful.
It's not pure anymore if he touches it,
That's
right?
exactly right. You can touch it, but you can't call it pure fine gold anymore.
Well, it just won't be mint.
Yeah, it won't be. Oh, I'd be ashamed if you
I've
did
got to
that.
touch it, man. 1/10 of an ounce of pure, fine Canadian gold.
I would say Manfred is probably thinking you're not going to open it when he sent it to you. If I sent somebody a coin in something, I'm like, you better not open it.
This is 2022. Also, that's 2022 mint.
Mm.
That was
Polar bear.
2022 was a good year.
Dang, that's kind of Manfred.
Isn't that unbelievable,
It's
man?
really unbelievable.
Isn't that unbelievable? I mean, just unbelievable, dude.
Well, you said something on the podcast about wanting it, and I told everybody not to send it, but he did it anyway. The heck, man?
How do you even get our P.O. box?
I don't know, but that's
Did you tell him?
That's very nice of him. Very nice.
If anybody else wants to send me some gold,
Chad.
looks like our P.O. box here is P.O. Box 454, Rome, Georgia, 30162.
Well, you've done it.
Hey, how about that Japanese? How about that laugh on that Japanese last night? Tell him how he did, Chili.
You just did it. I can't
No,
do anything
man,
with that either.
dude, that dude, man,
That dude was cool.
he was hitting a lick, son. I don't think he understood much English.
Well, no, we were trying to talk to him, but he when you would ask him a question, he just laughed, and I think that was because he didn't know how to answer what you were saying. He didn't get the full English. That's all right. He was a nice guy. He was ponying up next to you at that bar.
He was hitting that terrible laugh, son. There was a whole flock of Japanese come up in Harvest Moon last night.
Was they?
Flock.
Yeah,
Was they tourists or
I think they were business people.
Local Japanese.
No. These
No, they was
jokers,
just tourists.
these jokers were like Japanese. Like they didn't live in America.
Okay.
Like they was
So they
Japanese.
didn't speak English.
I mean, the guy that I was talking to, I was like, "Hey, man, this is my buddy Chili," and he was like, "Chili."
What in the world?
Isn't that what he did?
That is what he
Sound like
did.
a cartoon character.
Straight up, man. I don't think he knew any English.
I think there were some important dudes. You see, they had that whole room back there to themselves. Had that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to be important to get a private room at the Harvest Moon in downtown Rome.
Chad's on a roll today, so
Yeah.
You got to be a really important person, especially when, my buddy Frank's band is playing out there,
Oh,
a live performance and all, man. You ain't gonna get that private room when all that's going down.
Not on that night.
No, not on that night,
No, I'm
buddy.
telling you, those guys were important. They were important to me. So there.
Well, whatever we get into for the rest of this episode, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, it's brought to you by our friends at Drink Hoist. If you hadn't been trying this Hoist, well, you're just probably a freaking turd, man. You need to get out there. You need to get sweating. You need to be running 100-mile races, stuff like that. You need to do things like I do, okay? And when you're doing that, you're going to have something that hydrates you, that keeps you going. Something that's got a little bit of calcium, potassium, and magnesium, and some sodium in it, okay? You got to keep your daggone electrolytes right, or all kinds of bad stuff starts happening. These are our friends at Drink Hoist. This is a made in America. Y'all started telling me, I started telling y'all on the goat walk the other day.
He started telling
I was
y'all.
like, what is made? What do we make in America that's the best in the world? Well, it's Hoist. Of course, that's I don't.
Well, yeah.
We couldn't think of anything, but it's obviously Hoist. It's made in America. No preservatives. No high fructose corn syrup and all that bunch of crap. And the taste is refreshing. Watch this, guys.
Look, I got something wrong with my heart. I was talking to the heart doctor the other day, and he said, you need to get some electrolytes. I said, he said, y'all still drinking Hoist? I said, yeah, I drink one a day. He said, well, start drinking two. Mm-hmm. So it's doctor approved.
You got daggum a prescription for it.
That's right.
Good Lord.
cardiologist approved.
That's right.
My Lord.
It's good stuff, man. If y'all work out, or just work, and you're sweating and stuff because you're a man like me, get you some dang Hoist. It's gonna keep you going, man. And it's great with coffee too. Watch this. Dang, that's good.
How much did you press overhead today?
I did a 205 power clean and jerk.
And that's because of Hoist.
100%.
Mostly.
100% it's because of Hoist.
I had some of that with some chili the other day at dinner. Man, that stuff was good.
Yeah. Drinkhoist.com.
In your chili or with the chili?
Well, a little bit in, a little bit after.
Oh, no.
How was it, Corn? Dang, it was good.
Look what I'll do with this Hoist. Look.
Man, that horse, that chili was good.
Well, I make my coffee in the morning. It's I make it with that Chemex. Anybody on YouTube use a Chemex? It's the best. Sorry, excuse me. It's the best
Can't even talk.
coffee maker. It's a pour-over coffee maker.
Don't you got to be rich for that?
No.
Oh.
No, it's actually cheaper than buying. I mean, it's cheaper than going out and buying a cup of coffee, which is what most people do. Look, when you do that, you got to have a kettle, and I'll fill that coffee up like I'll fill that kettle up with like 3/4 water. Then I'll put about a quarter Hoist in there, and I'll pour it over my coffee. So then I have Hoist infused coffee. It'll blow your mind, dude.
Do you ever drop your Zen pouches in there? I thought
No.
that's what she's about to do.
No, I don't do that. But Hoist infused coffee, it'll blow your top. Because then you're getting the caffeine, and the caffeine's dehydrating you, but then you're getting the Hoist, and it's rehydrating you. So you can drink a cup of coffee, and you come out the other end of it hydrated.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the things that you guys don't know, but you ain't me. You don't have the mind that I have.
Well, what was that workout like this morning?
Oh, you did it.
Yeah, but I mean, you seemed like you were kind of struggling, but you beat me.
Yeah, I beat you real bad.
How was it for you?
You know, I'm not big on barbell complexes.
I'm not either.
All
These big power movements like that, you trying to move so quick, I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not big on barbell complexes. I don't know why. I mean, it's good. It's good stuff. They make you strong.
Yeah.
You're moving a lot of weight for a lot of reps. I think it's good stuff. I think I get a little bored with them, though. I guess that's what it is. I like the workouts like me and you did yesterday, Corn.
That was a good workout.
So that was, what was that, 5 rounds, right?
Yeah.
500-meter run.
I did 400 meters.
Okay. What was the next thing?
Pull-ups, 8 pull-ups, then another run.
No. It was 500-meter run. It was 8 pull-ups, and there was something else.
There was 12.
Devil's press.
Yeah.
Yep, 6 each side.
Right.
And then another 5. So that was the round.
Right.
Yep. That was a fun workout. Hard. I did it with a 20-pound vest on. Now, I'm just telling y'all that. Just tell you kind of person I am, but you know, it's funny.
Oh my gosh.
You
are insufferable.
It was funny because freaking Corn came up on me in the, what was that, the 3rd or 4th round?
He passed you, didn't he?
I passed you on the 4th.
On the 4th round, he passed me.
Yeah.
And he was creeping right along, you know, getting out from under me. Passed me. But when
he didn't have a vest on.
Hey, no. When it came to engaging the bottom end, he tried to engage his bottom end and he realized it just wasn't there.
So I passed him on the 4th round. He caught back up to me when we started the burpees. I passed him the devil presses. Mm-hmm. I passed him the number 4, and then he caught me on 8. Never looked back.
Mm.
Yeah, doesn't it suck when you go to reach into that bottom end and it just ain't there?
Well,
there's just air. You know,
there's
reaching
no
for it
such
and
thing as a bottom end.
You can't find nothing
What
to
the
grab
crap
a
are you
hold of.
talking about? That ain't a thing, man.
It is a thing.
Look here, no. It ain't a thing.
The bottom end is when you're late into a workout or a race or something, and you can reach down in the bottom of the bucket and you pull up a trove of treasure. and it gives you this energy and you just take off.
I did look at the dumbbell. I remember looking at the dumbbell longer on number 8 and on number 9, and that's how he beat me. I do before I did the press up.
It's like the one thing that I have, man, is bottom end. I've got it. And don't nobody else you know the only other person I know that's got more bottom end than me? No, I know 2 people. Kurt and Hamza. Kurt and Hamza got more bottom end than me. It's unbelievable.
But in what though? Doesn't it depend on what you're doing?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm talking about specifically in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm sure they ain't got the bottom end that I have in a 24-hour run or something like that. But in the gym, them jokers can start off, and I'll hang with either one of them for 2-3 rounds. Round 4, 5, no. They speed up.
They'll have Chad doing breathing.
The similar
exercise.
thing happened on Monday's workout with the wall balls too. You beat me by 2 wall balls on Monday's workout. It was about the same thing. About those were 24 wall balls at the end, and he passed me about the middle way. I couldn't catch him.
Yeah, the bottom end's a hard muscle to build. It's a small muscle just underneath your anus.
Well,
and
mine got burnt on that bike ride.
Yeah,
mine has been
That's probably what it is.
He tore his bottom end.
Corpse wood.
Corpse wood.
Yeah.
Well, Kurt and Hamza both will make you. I mean, they demoralize Chad because every time he works out with one of them, he'll come back and start trying to do something like, I got my lungs are messed up.
They hurt me.
I'm gonna expand my lung, and it's like, what's your problem? And then you find out he worked out with one of them, and then another week will go by, and he'll come back and be like, something's wrong with my my core. Like I think I got something wrong. It's like, what's wrong with you, man?
I ain't flipping with you, man. Either one of them jokers, Chili's exactly right. Either one of them, like, they will hurt me. Because I ain't going to stop trying to hang with them. But I ain't going to stop trying. But I just flat out can't hang with them. And so the last Saturday the workout I did with Kurt probably a month or two ago, it was god awful. I'm not kidding you. It was awful. They're just animals, dude.
What kind of workout? Is it these long workout or it don't matter? Just whatever.
Oh, it don't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care if it's 15 minutes long or an hour long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just the way they can pace themselves, and they just make it look easy too, man. Like when you see Hamza, Hamza is a world-class athlete, CrossFit athlete, which I don't think he claims CrossFit anymore.
What is it? I mean, what would be?
I think he detached from them when all the stuff's been going on with Palestine and all that. But I don't know where he's at with that now. But he's world class in the gym, dude.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it, whatever sport or whatever that joker's. He just makes it look so easy.
Well, I'll tell you too. Like watching him, the heaviest weights that CrossFit or whatever uses, like to program the. They're always light for him. I mean, always. The heaviest, the RX Plus or whatever they do, like whatever that is set at for any given workout, that's going to be light for him. So he just mows through it. And like you said, it's a pacing thing. They're perfect at that.
Yeah. I understand pacing,
running.
in ultra running.
Yeah.
But when you're doing a 15-minute workout, it just doesn't seem it doesn't seem wise to pace yourself because it's like it's only 15 minutes. But what you realize is when you go full bore, you got about 4 or 5 minutes of that in you, and then it's just gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the workout this morning is a forearm burner. But I'm going to be honest with you. The little finisher thing that we did, Corn, that was harder for me than the dang workout was.
Yeah, that was pretty rough for me.
Those flagpole, we did leg raises on the rack, and then push-ups, and then planks, and then pull-ups every minute on the minute for 3 rounds.
I did muscle-ups and forearms. That's what I did.
What'd you do for forearms?
Oh, man, I got me this complex that I'm trying to get Corn to do, and he won't do it. So I don't care. I'm just going to beat him in arm wrestling whenever we finally do it. You ain't got to do it. That's fine. That's fine with me. You just about to get. That's what's going to happen to you.
It's wild in here today.
Yeah, I did my little circuit. Don't worry about it.
What'd you do, Blake?
Nothing. Just pedaled real low RPMs on the assault bike for about 20 minutes and stretched.
Well, that's good, Bubba. That's good. You need to take it easy until you get back on top.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm on the bottom right now.
No, you need to quit talking bad about yourself, man.
Bottom
You
end.
need to quit saying that stuff about yourself. You're doing fine.
Well, you say that to him too, Chad.
Well, yeah, but I just make fun of it. Look,
You got to
man,
clean up your internal monologue, Blake, so he can give it to you externally. Yeah.
He can't give it to me if I'm giving it to myself.
If you're too sad, he can't do it.
Hey, YouTube, I'm gonna help you guys out.
This is a heck of a show.
I'm gonna help you guys out with something today. A lot of y'all might not know this, but I want Chili's input on this too, because this was what our conversation was all about last night at dinner. Okay? This is why me and Chili went out to dinner, because I knew if we went out to dinner, we were going to get into some good dialogue, some good debate. If we would have stayed at home, Chili would have just kept sending people invitations to the ROP course, and he wouldn't have talked to me. And so we went out to dinner last night. YouTube, do you realize everything that you watch on television is fake? Have you considered that, YouTube? I mean, like everything you watch on television is fake. Now, it might have little threads of reality woven into it, but ultimately, none of it is really real, meaning completely real. And you know why? You know why? Because television is all about entertaining you so that whoever is hosting the show can make money doing the show that they're doing. So, you, viewer, television watcher, you are not going to be entertained by anything that is real, because reality is not that interesting. But you can be and you will be entertained by a story that someone comes up with in their mind, and then they portray it on their television show. Because it's going to make you feel something. It's going to make you feel whatever. Scared, happy, sad, excited. Everything you watch on television is fake. That's including your Gold Rush show, your Duck Dynasties, your Kardashians. That's your football games. That's your UFC fights. That's your daggone basketball games. That's all of that. It's all fake. Have you ever considered that? Probably not. I might be the first one breaking this to you. And it's probably making you upset right now.
Well, Chad, don't paint this like I disagree with any of that. You set this up like we had some heated discussion.
I think you do. I think you did disagree with it. I had to convince you of it.
Are you out of your dad blam mind?
I think you believe
your
football's real.
Why would you think that?
I think you believe that stuff was real, man. None of that crap's real.
What would indicate that I believe that?
I just think that
you just think that I did.
Your naiveness. You believed that stuff was real. Yeah. Yeah.
Even though
is everything all right, Blake?
Oh yeah.
Even though I told you that.
Y'all see what I'm saying here? I started off this podcast explaining to y'all how all this crap's going on. Look, and then my tech guy gets up and runs out of the room like this freaking the world's ending. I don't know what's going on, man. Okay? Look, I told y'all, man.
Hey, it's meaningless, dude.
I know. That's what I...
Chill out. Chill out. Chill out. Do you really think UFC's fake?
Yes. Yes, I do.
So can we just take a few minutes to break this down?
Yeah,
we probably should break that down because I need to define what I mean by saying that.
Because I tried to do this with him last night too, and he wanted to go a little too far with it.
Right.
Yep. You need to do it on the air.
So you know how you train, right? So do you think that somebody would take all that time out of their life and decide to become a supreme athlete in mixed martial arts, wrestling, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, whatever it may be, and that be their career, to just get bought out or told what to do while getting the tar beat out of them while doing it, facing life-altering injuries on a regular basis to just get paid off?
Yep.
You think so? I mean, I could see somebody wanting to make a big payday one day and saying, okay, I'll throw the fight. I could see that happening, but I don't think 99.9% of those dudes that are at that level would do that.
Well,
that's where you're wrong, Cornbread.
Well, here's the thing. I agree with you and Chad. Like, what definitely happens is you get to a certain level and the money's just not worth what you're doing. It's not worth, and somebody approaches you and is like, look, dude, you're going to get paid whatever, $1 million for this fight. How'd you like to turn it into $10 million? Because they're going to gamble on it and they get you to throw it. That's pretty enticing. That happens. It has been proven to happen in boxing and probably UFC too. Like, it's hard. Like, you do have to define what's fake because, like, they're really fighting.
Yeah.
They absolutely fighting. They ain't that good of actors. Like, they beating the crap out of each other. Mm-hmm. But, like, I definitely think there's a lot of throwing fights going on. I do, because it's too much money involved. There's too much gambling, too much power and influence and wanting ratings.
Not only that, UFC is a show.
Yeah.
It's a show.
I agree with that. Yeah, 100%. I agree with probably the fact that the more spectacular personalities are pitted against each other in that manner. Yeah. I just find it. It's hard for me to see.
I know it's hard, Corn. I know, man. It's because they're masters.
How can you fake?
They're masters of deception.
How could me and you get up right now and have a mixed martial arts match, and you are supposed to lose, but you're throwing punches, and you don't knock me out on accident? How could I knock you out?
That could happen.
That could.
That's what I told him last night. Is you could totally mess it up because it's a real fight.
Yeah. Like, you
could intend to let somebody win, but then clip them, and it's like, oh crap, I just knocked him out.
But you also have to understand these men and women that are fighting at this level are so skilled.
They're so good. They are
so skilled. They know if they hit you here instead of here, it's not going to knock you out. They know a matter, and they are so precise with everything that they do. That obviously could happen. Anybody could make an accident.
You take it a little too far, though.
But
you think every little fight is like totally planned?
No, not.
That's taking it too far.
No, what I'm saying is, look, man. Yeah, I know y'all have gotten off on y'all have just chosen to run with this example of the UFC. And we'll just keep running with that. Whatever.
You go too far with it, man.
What about like WWE or something?
What do you mean?
Y'all think that's fake?
Oh no.
No, wrestling ain't fake.
No, that's one
WCW.
That's one of the only things on TV that ain't fake.
Okay.
But
just making sure. Didn't think we had to go there.
I definitely see that the entertainment steps that are in place to make it definitely more entertainment. I just don't see the number of folks that may possibly be throwing a fight to be large enough to say, hey, it's fake.
They're never going to say it's fake. And that's why you don't understand how this works. Look, the UFC is obviously it's a business. And these athletes that are going to fight in these fights that are hosted by this business, they belong to the UFC. They're not allowed to fight unless they sign on with the UFC. Right. The UFC owns them. It's the same way as me it's the same thing as me joining the military. The military owns me.
Yeah, but the UFC
owns them.
The UFC can't just straight up tell two fighters that are going to fight each other, you have to let him win, because
I guarantee you they
try, but it's really hard to make that perfectly happen.
You know why that's not hard to make happen.
Oh, it is. And why you take it too far.
And you know why it's not hard to get people to nobody to ever say, hey, this is fake.
Yeah, money.
Because
you own them.
Because these fighters, these athletes, these people, they have to sign contracts when they come on board with the UFC. And in that contract, I can guarantee you there are multiple non-disclosure agreements that basically say, if you talk publicly about what goes on behind the scenes in this organization, we're going to take everything that you have ever received while you've been here. We're going to take your entire net worth back because you've breached the contract that we've made with each other. It's easy to do. And then so nobody's going to do that. If you're making hundreds of millions of dollars a year, you're not going to come out and say, hey, this ain't really what you think it is. And guess what? Me telling you this is going to cost you the fortune that I've earned playing this game for this entertainment company. Everything on TV is fake, man.
Yeah, I think you just take it a little too far with the sporting events because you can't make it
because
perfect.
you like sports. No. You like sports, so you want to defend your sports because...
Why do you think... You're so weird. No, I don't, dude. I don't even watch... Like, I just am reasonable about things. Not everything can be fake to the level you think it can. Like, it's impossible to make it perfect. Do they try? Is gambling involved in every aspect of it and people making money and people trying to pull strings and have you do this? Yes, but you can't make that happen every time. I mean, like, there's been, like, I don't have to speculate like you are. There's been scandals all over the organizations in the NFL and the NBA, boxing, where, like, refs have been caught and thrown in prison because they have gambled on games and, through their calls, affected games and literally switched outcomes. That's happened. They've been caught. I mean, you don't have to guess on if this happens, but, like, is every player, coach, trainer, chef in a team involved in like rigging the game every time there's a game going on to the level that they're always perfect? No, you can't even do that.
Well, now let's shift from sports. Okay, I think I made my case.
So your case is that the UFC, the high and mighty,
every fighter, every time
that they say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and if you don't like it, you're in breach of your contract. So just do what you're told.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not quite like that, but
now I can see like Chile, and you correct me if I'm wrong, people get bought off by other people, and whether they're affiliated with whatever.
Sometimes that happens.
But yeah, you're saying as a whole, the UFC,
the organization,
is fake.
It's meant for entertainment.
That is true.
It's bred in circuses.
True.
All right,
they cannot make it entertaining without controlling the narrative.
They do to a degree.
They have to control the narrative.
Absolutely.
I agree. I agree that they have to control it, and that's where I think a lot of people probably get looked over in fights they should get, and this and that, and that's why they're all trying to be, Conor McGregor now, and try to get more money, and this and that and that and this. And I'm sure there's probably on every fight card somebody throws a fight that
maybe
that has nothing to do with the UFC. I can see that happening, but you won't know that till they get caught.
Well, another thing to be said too about the UFC is, I'll just speak for myself. I don't know nothing about fight. Like, I don't do jiu-jitsu, boxing, none of it. So I don't know nothing about none of that. I can't really speak to it. Like, oh, they fake this and do that. Dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't do it. I don't know nothing about it, so I'm speaking out of ignorance. But, like, I just don't imagine that it would be real easy in a daggum UFC fight for two dudes with the minimal amount of rules that there are who beat the living crap out of each other to fake that to the level you think they do. I mean, it'd be tough.
Because they've deceived you.
Well,
because you like sports.
Yeah.
What a weird thing to say.
You've went along that they're so good at deception they've even deceived you.
I do think that they're very, very skilled, all the UFC fighters, at what they do, and they could make it look like they're trying even when they're not, just because of how good they are. But it would still be difficult to rig every outcome from that side of it perfectly, which I don't think.
Yeah, it'd be hard. I mean, it definitely takes some thought. For sure.
You're a paranoid schizophrenic now, man. You went full bore.
Okay, now let's go to your TV shows that you watch. Like,
because I love TV.
Like what are all these?
I watch a lot of TV.
Okay, I have some Canadian gold right here.
That's fake too.
So there's all kinds of these TV shows out there, like
fake corn.
What's it called? Like Gold Rush.
Oh, I love that show.
Okay, let's take a look at Gold Rush here.
Or Deadliest Catch.
Well, hold on. Let's stay on Gold Rush. Okay. Now you're watching Gold Rush, all right, and you're thinking that this is real, and you know how at the end of the episode in Gold Rush, they get down. Man, this is your typical end of the episode. We've got down to where we're really in a vein now, but the sluice box is stopped up, and the the dozer, we just blew a belt on the dozer, and it's going to be 6 months before we get that out here. And we've got Jimmy down there on the other claim moving in on us. And we can't, the sluice box won't even run.
And Bobby's having a baby at home. We got to get him home.
Yeah, and so we don't know what we're going to do. And then it cuts, and you got to pick it up on the next episode. Now, you know why they do that? See, ain't none of that really happening. The sluice box is running fine. Bobby's eating freaking fried chicken in the trailer back there, laughing his butt off. The tractor's brand new.
Chad, do you think we think that's real?
They ain't really about to hit a vein. They've been digging in the same old hole they've been digging in the whole time you've been watching this show. But guess what? If they ended the show like that, if they ended the show with reality and old fat boy standing there in front of the show saying, well, everything's running fine. We're still digging in this same hole. We ain't found nothing. Bobby's back there. He's doing all right. Well, we'll see y'all on the next show. We're just going to keep on digging.
It's called manufactured drama.
Guess what? Nobody would watch the show.
Yeah.
Well,
Nobody would watch the show.
What, Blake?
where they're out hunting that sang.
Yeah.
That's
Ginseng?
Appalachian Outlaws.
Now
I
that's
love
real.
Appalachian Outlaws.
Oh, that's a good one. Moonshiners.
Yeah.
Moonshine.
Have you ever watched Moonshiners?
I think so.
When they
I
have
think I've
that,
seen
have
an
you watched the
episode.
corn?
Oh, yeah.
That daggum cop who's always trying to find them.
Now he's a moonshiner.
Now that was ridiculous. Now you lose me with that, man. First of all, they show the guys in the woods, and then the same camera crew goes to the policeman in his vehicle, and he sits there, always had a dip in, going, "Yeah, I'm gonna find these boys one day. I know they're around here somewhere." And now he's running shine. What the crap are you talking about, man?
He
That
got
show's
bought out. Dana White bought him out.
that show is ridiculous. I mean, if anybody thinks that's real, no, you're talking to us like we think it's real, man.
Well,
It's drama.
Yeah, maybe you don't.
It's drama.
What I'm trying to explain to people is that the reason TV is like that is because reality is bland. Reality is
Well, for some people.
I mean, you can't control it though. Maybe there are some exciting moments in reality.
You just got
Maybe
it.
there are a few exciting moments in reality, but here's the thing. If you wanted to make your gold digger show based in real, like what this is really like, you might get one episode out of an entire season that had 5 minutes worth of something that was exciting enough to watch.
Man, you just hit it, though. I've been waiting on you to have this epiphany, and you finally had it. I'm
Whatever,
so
dude.
patient with you. It's unbelievable. It's about the control, man. You can film reality television with stuff that is interesting. I mean, you can. Trust me.
Oh, okay.
But-
I guess
but-
that's
but
why
e-
everybody does it then.
Even if you could, though, they don't want to. That you have to control it. They want to control it. It would be
No, you have to control it because you can't-
it would be unpredictable from their side.
You
That's
can't
why they
sit
do
around.
it, Chad.
You can't film enough to capture the few exciting moments that are actually real to make it into something that's sustainable on television. That's why you have to control it.
Not really, but
Yes,
What about
really.
Alone?
oh yeah. You
Where
think
they
that's
film themselves.
Chad loves that show. You think that's real?
Alone?
No, it's on TV. It's obviously not real. It's on TV. It's obviously not real. I'm telling you, everything on TV is fake. And that is to include most, if not all, things that are worth watching on YouTube. YouTube is TV.
Yeah.
I heard, it's interesting. I saw my man Matt Brown made a story post, and he said, y'all know not to take anything I say online seriously, right? Like, unless I'm talking about the Lord, y'all know not to take anything I say seriously, right? And I was like, he's like everyone. I'm not going to say everyone should give that disclaimer, but anyone who's watching anything on YouTube, on television, like, That's how you should approach it.
But this brings me to the question of, with all these TV shows that you're talking about that are being fake like that, do you think that's good? You think that's right and good? There's no problem with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I don't think there's any problem with that because it is entertainment. That is the purpose of it, right? It gives someone the opportunity to sit down and watch something that is grander than reality because it's been made up. It's a storyline that some creative mind has come up with,
Yep.
and they've acted it out and they've played it out, and it gives the individual the ability to get home from work at the end of the day and sit down and watch something that makes them laugh, that makes them excited, that makes them scared, that makes them, whatever. It gives them the opportunity to do that. And nobody's forcing you to watch it. Nobody's forcing you to watch it. But if you want to be entertained, that is what TV is for. That's what it's for. So, is there anything wrong? That's a great question. We talked about that with the Duck Dynasty show.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, that is acting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, man, Uncle Si walked into the office and peed in so-and-so's freaking trash can. Like, yeah, the producers told him to do that, and they set it up, and he did it, and it made everybody laugh or think Uncle Si was crazy. Like, that's deception.
Yeah.
That is deception. Is there anything wrong with that? That is entertainment. Entertainment is deception.
You think it's wrong if you try to pass it off as real?
Every show tries to pass it off as real.
Well, I know.
Every show tries to pass it off as real.
Yep.
So here's the thing, man. Here's where you get into the is it wrong? The moral issue to it. There are some people who watch Uncle Si go and pee in the trash can, or watch the Gold Rush show and think that Billy's kid is sick and he's out and they feel bad for Billy. There are some people who literally are thinking that that's real.
Yeah.
And so they are actually
the majority.
They are actually deceived because they are not intelligent enough to understand this is a TV show. And so that could be potentially harmful to them. The lowest common denominator, that deception, could potentially be harmful to them.
That happens every show then.
Exactly. So should you compromise on, if you're into making a TV show or something, should you compromise on the storyline that your creative mind has come up with that you know is going to be most entertaining? Should you compromise on that to protect the lowest common denominator who's going to watch this and actually think it's real? Should you?
Well, why do you pass it off as real? You could just say it's entertainment.
It's a TV show. It is entertainment.
I love this.
Every television show, literally every YouTube, even 60 or 70% of the YouTube videos we've made would have to come with a disclaimer that says parts of this video are for your entertainment. Like, I'm reviewing this gun, but I'm giving this gun the review that I want to give it because it's going to be entertaining. Like, parts of this are entertainment.
But what are you faking?
You can't freaking put a disclaimer on everything.
But what are you faking in the gun reviews? You're not faking anything. You're being entertaining. There's a difference. You're not trying to pass something off as real you're just being entertaining.
How about when I say, this gun kicks like a mule?
Well,
that's funny. Does the gun actually kick like a mule? Yeah. No.
Well, it kicked more than the other one. That's why you said it.
That's what I'm saying. So that's the thing. If you're going to engage in watching this, it is implied that parts of it are meant to entertain you. So do I need to give you a disclaimer because you're too stupid to understand that right off the bat?
No, you don't.
You're going off the rails,
You ain't
man.
got to worry about that. I wouldn't worry about that. But nor would I say that, I wouldn't say that everything's fake on TV too. You did 2 documentaries. There ain't nothing fake about them. The one.
Oh, yeah.
There ain't nothing fake. And the same could be said for podcasts. There's parts of this podcast that's for entertainment or what we act silly and goofy and whatnot at sometimes. There ain't nothing fake about the podcast.
Well, I ain't trying to act silly.
That's a good point. That's a good point. There are things like documentaries that are meant to show the best parts of a real life thing. So yes, you're right. To make a statement that all things are fake.
Well, but there's still production added to those.
There is still production
that makes things,
Yeah,
it flowers up the reality of it. Yeah,
filters or whatever.
Fog. Yeah, good point.
Or fog.
Yeah,
exactly, man. So some things that you watch do have way more realness to them than entertainment. But as the viewer, you can't ultimately discern that.
Right, yeah.
You can't ultimately discern that.
Yeah.
So everything that you see on TV or online, you have to just say, well, this was really fun for me to watch.
Yeah.
What parts of it are real and what parts of it are not, I don't freaking know because I wasn't there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So it's an interesting conversation, man. And the reason it's Chili and I have this heated debate about this is because obviously
Bussin'.
I want to start a legit show.
Yep.
And Chili's like, well, it can just be, you don't have to add these storylines to it that you dream up in your mind, and you don't have to add all this stuff to it. And I'm like, no, but Chili, I'm talking about making a TV show.
No, I said
man.
You don't have to do that and then try to pass it off as real to confuse somebody. We were talking about
confuse who?
We were talking about a specific thing. If you want to get into that,
confuse who?
Well,
it can be anything.
Well, okay, but
it can be paranormal Land Cruiser experience, or I could start a show out here about freaking taking care of Goat Father. Guess what? If I start the Goat Father show, guess how boring that freaking show is.
He's thought about that.
If I don't come up with some freaking storyline about Shaky Legs got a turd hung in her butt for 2 weeks and I had to go in there and get it out. That didn't really happen. But I knew it was going to keep you watching the show.
It's funny that he thought about the Goat Father.
That's the TV, man. That's what makes it fun. The fun thing, the funness to me of creating a real TV show, the funness of it is that it's limitless in terms of your creativity as to what storylines you can weave into this thing.
I think we're just determining that you need to be on a TV show, but we ain't the men to work with. So you just A&E, USA, whatever TV network, reach out to Chad, get him on a show, because we ain't gonna work with him. But you need to go ahead and just make the Goat Father and put it on syndicated television.
Nonetheless, I know not many listeners are considering starting their own TV show. So for the listeners, I think the important part here is for you to understand that dang near everything, if not everything, that you watch for your entertainment has some aspect of theatrics added to it. Dang near everything.
That's just sad, though, because my life is interesting to me.
Yeah, it's real interesting.
It is to me. I don't know why you got to do all this fake crap. My life's interesting.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yep. What the crap, Blake? You ain't said nothing, man. You
Well,
all right over there, buddy?
Yeah, I don't care about this stuff, man. That, of course, it's all fake. I don't care if it's real or not. It don't mean nothing to me. I don't watch TV.
Meaningless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meaningless, man.
Yeah.
Well,
That
That-
gold over there ain't meaningless.
yeah. Well, that was what me and Chili's conversation last night was all about.
Well, it sounded like a pretty good one. What did none of the Japanese ring in on it?
No.
They couldn't understand a word we were
They
saying.
were on their
man.
private room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been able to understand a word we were saying.
This was
anyway.
too surface level conversation. That wasn't important enough. But what about the rest of our discussion? You want to get into that?
What else?
Well,
did
it
we
goes
talk
right
about?
along with deception and the medical establishment.
Well, to explain.
Well,
I forgot about that
I
part.
find that interesting, and I find that worth talking about. To think, I've said it before. If you think everything is a conspiracy, literally to the depths of everything, I mean, absolutely everything. Not just what you hear on the news, but everything. That's where people get, man, and that's the other end of the spectrum to believe everything you hear. And I've called that the same person because it's the same person. Mm-hmm. If you accept everything or deny everything, you're pretty much in the same place. And you've lost all ability to discern anything. And but to say what Chad said, if he don't want to take it too far, yes, everything on TV is freaking fake. That's not an extreme statement. There's production and editing and changing this and adding storylines and doing this and faking whatever. But that also, to that degree, goes along with just about everything. Like the medical establishment we got talking about last night as well. And
Oh yeah, because I made the comment. I wonder since they just came out and said treat the global virus just like the flu.
Yep.
I said I wonder how many of these medical professionals that went along with all this crap feel like total freaking idiots for being in the position that they were in and going along with what they went along with for the last 3 years, and now their God, the CDC, is now saying just treat it like a flu. Like, how stupid must you feel to realize that everything that you are standing up for and everything that you were pushing upon every single patient of yours who was looking up to you, it was all just a freaking lie. Yeah. And you didn't have the ability to discern that it was a freaking lie, and you just went along with it because that's what you were being told. And I said, you know what? They probably ain't even many of them that think they're freaking stupid for it, because every one of them has the excuse of saying, it's just what we were being told by our great gods.
Yeah,
the CDC.
Other than a very small amount of doctors, it seems, fall into the category of like, man, I wish that hadn't went that way. That was wrong. I mean, there's a few big name doctors that have spoken out publicly and they get ostracized by the media. It seems like there's two major camps. The doctors that, if you asked them today, would still think all that was legit. They really do. I mean, they believe it fully. That they parrot the narrative because they agree with it. There is some of that, believe it or not. And then there's a huge camp, I think, of doctors and medical professionals that fall in the camp of, yeah, it's pretty obvious that was ridiculous, but I had to go along with it.
Yeah,
we had to do it. We had to do it for this reason. If we didn't, we would have lost this and lost that. I mean, money got involved in that. Money got involved in that to where if you went along with it, you would get money. You would get the funding you needed. You would, be given checks and supplies that you needed for this, and if you didn't use it, well, then you'd lose the money and all that. I mean, it's rampant. So that's why it happened, but that's once again why that was fake and how that was allowed to be faked. Because you have to have actors and whatever type of actor that means, you just need people to go along with your narrative and not speak out against it and pretend that it's true. That's an actor. And that deceived much of the public. If there had been more that said, well, hey, this isn't legit, then I don't know that the public, even despite what the news was saying, would have believed it like they did. If more doctors who would have stood up and said, this is what we're being asked to do, this is the real truth about this, instead of just going along with it because that's what the news was saying and that's what they needed to do for whatever monetary reason, whatever public unrest reason, I think it didn't matter what the daggum news said. The news was just saying what all doctors agreed with, what medical professionals said, what the science said.
Fauci.
It was only one guy that ever said it. He was speaking for every medical professional and every scientist that there was. Everyone else kept their mouth shut. That's all it took. Same thing with climate change. So all scientists agree the earth is melting. No, they don't. But you know what the ones that don't agree with it say? Nothing. They let 3 people talk for them. That's all it takes. You don't need all scientists to agree if you've got 3 that speak for all scientists and everyone else keeps their mouth shut. And sure, some people bring it up, some people talk about it, but that's not enough whenever you've already built the narrative so much. And
That was like 2 or 3
exactly
in the last 4 years.
That's really not enough.
Who was it? Robert Malone?
As far as the doctors,
Yeah, there was
McCullough.
a few of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's not enough whenever it's gotten to the point that it got to.
And that pretty much cost them everything.
And it cost them
in terms
everything.
of their career.
Which also kind of tells you something. And I don't know, man. You never know if you can trust those guys either. Like a lot of people, if you're the type of person who doesn't like the narrative, you see all the deception in all of it, then what you do is, of course, you look for a doctor to come out and say what you agree with. And then you just, for a lot of people, when Robert Malone came out, they were like, yes, everything this dude says is true. This is great. I don't know if that's the case either. But at least he was, you can look at what he was saying in a common sense way and say, yeah, he's calling this is bullcrap. Not everybody believes that. This is not legit. He's exposing some of the deception in this that was obvious before he even did it. But that's how it happens, man. That's how it happens with any medical sickness, virology, climatology, any of it. The news will take a few prominent doctors, do what they need to do, pay them off, whatever, get them to speak in front of the TV. Everyone else keeps their mouth shut. Done. That's how you control a narrative. It's actually pretty easy. As big and broad as it is and impactful as it is, it's not that hard, which is sad. But, all of the research that has been done that goes against the climate narrative or any virological narrative just gets hidden, man. You can find it, but nobody looks for that stuff.
Yeah.
And the people that do it, they're daggum scientists, man. They're not YouTubers. They're not TV personalities. They don't have big social media followings. They don't get it out there. They don't talk about it. They don't say, oh, man, this is unfortunate that the news is parroting lies. They just watch it happen. In a way, they have to watch it happen. Because what are you supposed to do? Be a scientist who disagrees with the climate narrative and then go to the news? Who do you go to? You say, I'm going to call a reporter from the New York Times and tell them that this story that they're running, that they're trying to lie to the public, is false. Well, they're going to say no.
Yeah.
They're going to say, we're not running your story. We're not going to turn around and say, oh, we had someone reach out to us that says this is not true. No, they're not going to do that. You have to have your own channel. Like Robert Malone built up his own platform and ended up on Joe Rogan and this and that. There's no other way to do it.
Yeah. And
that's going to be very few and far between. So that's why it happens. And that's how the deception runs far bigger than television.
How much do you think the media is controlled by government?
Yeah, the question how much is difficult to give a precise answer to. As much as it needs to be would be my answer. Because the government would potentially have unlimited ways to control it at their disposal. So anytime anything was necessary, you could do it. Like anytime something like got
Well, then that would assume it's 100% controlled by the government.
essentially,
Yeah.
but
I get what you're saying.
Right.
There might be aspects
Right.
but they have the ability to, if they need
Yep.
to change the
Yep.
direction of the narrative, they have the means and the people in place to do so. Which would the ultimate conclusion there is
Entail
that
essentially
it's
100.
100%.
Yeah, because I'm not sitting here saying that every news story you've ever, once again, I talked about this earlier, every news story you've ever read is not just a total lie. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
But it's fine to question every one that you read, because you really should do that, because I believe they can be at any time, at any moment's notice. But you have to discern it through other, when things don't add up, man. Nothing, the big narratives never add up if you pay attention at all. And you can look and find that pretty plainly. It's always, everything's not really that hidden is another thing. And these news stories that are run and bought by the government, and you say the government, I mean, it's even beyond that.
Yeah.
I mean, but
That's good.
but that's a fine, what?
But
I mean, it's beyond that.
yeah.
I mean, the control goes beyond that. But yeah, so the news is run however it needs to be run. And you see that anytime there's a reversal of public opinion on things, like masks. When people started questioning that and social media goes nuts, the news starts working overtime what they need to do to reverse the narrative, to get it back on track. Mm-hmm. And that's all government agenda, outside forces agenda, paying what they need to pay, getting this. I mean, everyone's watching it from a very high level, and you can see what needs to be done and what strings need to be pulled when. And they also lay it out. There's a document, I've mentioned it on here before, and I'm going to say it till the end of time because I think it's worth reading. It's just because we're not in 2020, it doesn't matter. There's a Johns Hopkins University put out a document that was a scenario simulation that they ran called the SPARS pandemic. SPARS, S-P-A-R-S. And I think the dates on it are 2025 to 2028, but they actually ran the simulation in like 2017, 2018. And it basically detailed exactly what we went through in the last few years. And we're basically in this part of that simulation of where it ended, the last year of the simulation, that was full of social media manipulation. That's literally what it was. You can go read it. And there's new social media platforms that emerge, which we're seeing right now. And they all are to affect the narrative more effectively than the ones that are already being used. Mm. And it basically leads into the next one that's going to happen after the one that we just went through. So it's very interesting. And they do those all the time, and you can see more of them. But that was a very prominent one if you want to compare it to what we just lived through and realize that it was made several years before we went through it. Just look on Johns Hopkins University website, SPARS pandemic.
Yeah, they make no effort. It
has to be in plain
By the way,
sight.
when we say they and when we say the government,
That's important to define.
Understand the ultimate definition of that is the kingdom of Satan. It is the kingdom of Satan, and all those who are being manipulated by him to achieve his ultimate agenda. That when you want to take a 30,000-foot view of what we mean by
and
that.
there's role players in that are willingly trying to play a part in that, and some that I don't think they even realize what they're doing, but they're being used for that.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah.
There's both.
Yeah.
So
What's one of the punishments pronounced by God when you refuse to accept him and his gospel? It's to turn you over to a reprobate mind to where you believe the lie. You actually believe the lie. And when you actually believe the lie, there's nothing to you that's malicious about what you're doing. There's nothing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You think you're doing good because you actually believe the lie. So there are people out there that is their existence. You know, I've about given up on my idea of running for governor or president. I've about given up on that. I'm just about over it, man. This crap is done for, brother.
Well, I've tried to tell you.
This crap is done for.
Well, I've always said it, and I don't know what level you disagreed with this or what level of naive you thought I was, or I don't know, pessimistic, but I've always said the system, you're not going to operate within the confines of a system like we have now. You're not going to change it by getting into the system as it is and restructuring it. You're going to dismantle it from the outside.
I actually don't even think that you can get into the system
without being compromised.
Without being placed there by the king of darkness, the king of this earth. The king of this earth. I don't even think you can enter into this system without first giving yourself over to him.
I mean, to me, the number one disqualifier to being a part of that system is, to me, expressing the desire to be a part of that system. That's a daggum problem.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I mean, it really is. It's like, if you want to be a part of the system that we've got now, that's a red flag to me. Because, like, why? I want to destroy the system we have now, and I don't think I'm going to do it from within it. I don't see how that can be done, especially in a good way, unless you dismantle it from the outside in whatever way that looks like. And yeah, I don't have the exact picture of that. But anytime, thinking you're going to be the benevolent actor who gets into the corrupt system and then turns it good, how much pride do you have? Because you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that.
Mm-mm. No, it's unbelievable, man. It's interesting too. I was listening to a sermon by John MacArthur the other day, and he talked about how the idea of human government is actually something that we can read about in the Bible. And I think he quoted from a place in Romans where he was talking about how the government is established to basically wield the sword against evil and to actually reward good people. But when everything becomes reversed and what is evil is seen as good and what is good and seen as evil, then the government becomes this thing that is not operating as it was meant to operate and as it was established by God in the beginning. The whole idea of human government. It's all flipped upside down on its head. And now it's being wielded to punish good people, and it's being wielded to help and reward bad people. It's a completely illegitimate government. And a lot of people get upset at me, which I don't give two freaking craps, man. I don't give two freaking craps how you feel about what I say. A lot of people get upset at me about talking about, they think I'm extreme. They think, well, why are you not submitting to this government? And, why are you so upset about taxation and tags and all this stuff and all the crap? Look, it's because this is an illegitimate, evil freaking government. But I don't think it's going anywhere. You know where I think all this is headed? I think all this is headed to a global government. I think all this is headed to exactly what Scripture tells us about a global government, a global leader, a global currency. I think all this is headed to the end, man. I don't think it's going to reset. I think for it to reset would have to be a catastrophic natural disaster that killed off over half of the world's population and destroyed all technology.
That would only help it.
Destroyed all technology.
That would only help it.
Well, I think it would reset. I think it would. It's not going to happen anyways.
That would only help it. That's the way that it's going to be carried out anyway, is reducing the population. That will only help it. That probably will happen, but that will help it.
Yeah, it won't be a reset.
I've said that for a long time, man, but it ain't me predicting the future. It's what the Bible says.
Yeah, that's true.
That is what's coming, whether there's a reset first or not. That's what's coming.
That's true.
You can
I
guarantee that.
The more I think about this, man, and even just watching that film the other day that that Grace Church put out, that the Essential Church, and how it describes the spheres of the church and the government, and the way it describes that, and the church, and how it really lays out and explains how the church is its own entity within the world. It's really profound when you see this drawn out, and it's like, I don't know, man. Of course, I always look back on, the things that I concern myself with, and all of the the worldly aspirations that I might have to make an impact, and I'm like, man, I need to focus on who I am as part of the body of Christ, which has the right to exist and will exist until the King comes. The church will exist until the King takes it away. And the church is going to become increasingly, and already is, the main opposition to the government. Y'all, I want y'all to understand that. The church, the body of Christ, is the number one opposition on earth to the government. It's wild, man. This is wild, dude. What you got, CB?
Talking about being in opposition, what does it take if people haven't seen what went on through the pandemic? I remember, and I'd be interested to hear y'all's answer too, the first time the government controlling the media that I was like, whoa, they something up with this. Mine was 9/11. When they said they shot that plane down that went in that day,
Yeah.
they said they shot that plane down, and then you heard nothing else about them shooting that plane down. That the black box was found, and the people on the plane took the plane down.
Yep.
That is gone. Somebody might have it. If you do, I'd like to hear it again. But that's gone. You can't find it on a radio. You can't find it from a newscast. You can't find it from nothing. They said they shot it. Now, whether they did or didn't, that was put out that a jet shot that plane down.
Well, yeah, and there's news coverage. I mean, actual news coverage footage of talking about taking Tower 7 down.
Yeah.
As a controlled demolition.
Right.
To save it, they used some reason for whatever. They said they did that.
Yeah.
And then now that's wiped.
Yeah.
And they act like that didn't even happen at all. It's still there.
That was the first time I was like, whoa, now the government's got something to do with this. Is there a time that you can remember?
Yeah. Well, mine was 2020. With the pandemic, for sure. Yeah, I was so young when 9/11 went down. I wasn't privy enough to pay attention to any of that. I wasn't even
born.
And to be honest with you, man, when I was in the military and even as a teenager and all this stuff, and I just thought that I really didn't put much thought into it. I just thought, this is America, the greatest nation in the world. We're the force for good. Mm-hmm. Like, I truly believe that, man. But dude, 2020 just reshaped my whole. It woke me up, man. It woke me up big time. And I think it did for a lot of people too.
The interesting thing, when it first started, I was working at the landfill, and every day at lunch, we would go in there to eat lunch, and the TV would be on. And every day at lunch, the savior, Donald Trump, would be there doing the same thing the rest of them was doing. Well, the numbers are up here. The numbers are up here. We're going to do this. We're going to do. He wasn't saying this is a boatload of bull crap.
Yep.
Everybody just chill out.
Yep.
Regardless of what anybody says or thinks about him, he wasn't saying that.
Never did.
Period. He wasn't saying that. That's one of the biggest things I remember about when it first started. He was on the news every day at lunch when we went into the scale house and eat. The numbers are this. And
Never once did.
And Fauci would be right there, or no, it wasn't Fauci. It was, I can't remember her name.
Yeah, scarf lady.
Yeah, she would. What was her name?
We'll just call her Scarf Lady.
But
That's
anyhow,
great.
she would be on there, and not that it was to the level of Fauci and everything else, but it wasn't much different, man. It wasn't much different. Period.
No, Dr. Fauci was under. It was a part that was Trump's. I mean, that was his. Whatever the crap that title is.
Yeah.
I mean, it was his. Everyone acted like they were against each other, man.
Yeah.
Because they didn't like each other. Dude, that's all. They're acting.
Yeah.
Let's go back to our previous discussion.
Everything on TV is
Fake.
Yeah.
It was
including
fake,
politics.
man. And all the crap you watch with the Senate hearings and the Congress and Rand Paul digging at Fauci. Oh, he got him today. It's fake. It's all fake. You dumb idiot. If you watch that and you think that's real, it's fake. And it all was plain as day from the beginning, man. Like, of course he didn't come out against it. All he did was push the solution that he was coming up with. Warp speed, son.
Yeah.
But if you talk to the big Trump heads, they don't say nothing about that.
No, they
Trump
don't.
was right in there at the beginning of it. He didn't call it a spade a spade. He did not call a spade a spade.
Nope.
He didn't do it.
Well, you know the difference between you, Cornbread, and everybody, most everybody else. Cornbread don't forget.
That's true.
Cornbread don't forget nothing.
No.
I do got a good memory.
You really do.
He don't forget nothing, man.
It's
good, and it's good to remember that stuff, man.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it can be the difference in understanding what is happening in the moment, is remembering what's happened in the past. Like if you forget the details of this crap, that's why it's going to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Is because you'll go through it again and be like, oh, well, what is this? This is odd, but I don't know. I mean, it's never really, yeah, you just did it, but you're not going to see it because it'll be a little different. Oh, but this has got this to it now. So we got to now. That's how it'll be, man. You don't have a memory. And you don't understand what you've went through.
Tell him, Blake, that's what makes me such a good turkey hunter. I don't forget.
Remembers where them turkeys are.
That crap is important, though, to remember.
Well, viewers, I can tell you in absolute belief, the king is coming, son. I mean, with absolute certainty and belief, the king is coming. And I don't give two craps about you scoffers that say, oh, everything's been the same. The world, though nothing's changed, everything's been the same since the dawn of time. I don't give a freaking crap about what you're saying, man. I'm going to tell you right now, son, the king is coming. And I'm going to tell you right now, all these people that we've been talking about, man, the king of this earth is Satan. And that's why all this crap's happening. And if you can't see it in that light, you're not going to make any sense of any of this. You got to be able to see it the way it is. And so, hey, man, I'm all good, man. Lift up your eyes and rejoice because your redemption draws near, son. Let it come. Let it come, boy. And if it don't come, if it ain't coming within the next little bit, guess what, man? Best thing you can do is find some enjoyment in whatever you put your hands to. Lean into who you are in Christ. Get involved with the local body of Christ, making the impact that you can, wielding the gospel to plunder the kingdom of darkness. And when you freaking die, you die, man. It's all good. What you got, young B?
Yeah, I think that's all we can do.
Young Bishop.
All we can do is just spread the gospel. You can't. People say, even just live it out in front of other people, but I don't think that even does it. Jesus came to the earth in person, and they still crucified him. So it's their heart's problem, and we can't change people's hearts. So all you can do is share what the Bible says and hope that the Lord changes their heart. And that's all that can be done.
That's all I got for this episode, Blake.
Well, we got some super chats. Let's go through those. We got Don coming in at $9.99.
Don who? Don Dollar?
Just Don. Just regular old Don. No last name.
Thank you, Don.
We got Chris Vaughan coming in at $49.99.
Good
Hey,
Lord.
Chris.
He said, "Greetings from Lawrenceville, Georgia. I really appreciate you guys. Y'all have been a blessing. This is the hardest podcast, hands down. Chuck Norris thought he was hard till 3 of 7 came to town."
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for tuning in, man.
We got Garrick coming in at $49.99.
Good
man.
night.
Said, "Thank you for not being fake. Everything is fake. Even many people talking about the Lord are fake. It's just business trying to get money from those who are vulnerable. This is insane to me and scary at the same time."
That's entertainment. Thank you for being here today, Garrett. We love you, man.
We got Tomp, T-O-M-P, coming in at $9.99.
Thank you, Tomp.
Said he loves this show. The reason he made his podcast was to give a good show about whatever he likes to do. Thank you guys for the inspiration.
That's outstanding. Good for you, man.
That's what I'm
Yep.
telling
Good
you.
for you. What's your podcast called?
We don't know. Tomp, drop it in the comments. Mark Stuttered, coming in at $4.99. He said, "Poor Becky, it's just his wife,
Yep.
loves her ugly canic and your goat walks."
Thank you, Mark.
And we're praying for her too, Mark.
Yep.
Keep
he
that in
said-
mind.
He said, "Thanks for the prayers."
Yep.
Chelsea Blake coming in at $19.99. Most TV comes off as propaganda and polar messages. It's like mass hypnosis and creates divide. Sit a kid with a still growing frontal lobe in front of TV every day equals future smooth brain.
Yeah, that's the truth. Thank you, Chelsea.
Muscled Up Runner.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Y'all remember him from the race. $9.99. Great podcast. Have a blessed day. Peace, love, and always positivity.
Thank you, brother.
Don coming back in at $1.99.
On.
Amen, Pope Chili.
Amen, Pope Chili.
By the way, I've heard he's coming into town next week.
Pope Chili?
Yeah. I've heard.
Maybe.
I don't
Looking
know.
for him.
I don't know.
We got Tennessee Matt Outdoors coming in at $1.99.
You know, his tour follows the Trump tour, Pope.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, Trump's coming to Rome here soon.
Yeah.
Pope's going to come back and clean up that damage.
Him and his minion, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Are they going to be at the airport again?
I don't know.
Anti-Trump
I ain't going to be here.
Anti-Trump organizations have reached out to the Pope and asked him if he'd come by a few days after Trump comes to each spot and bless the area once he leaves. So I think he'll be back in town. We may try to get him in here.
Try to get that on film.
We got Tennessee Matt Outdoors at $1.99. He could probably get you some turkey hunting land, Corn.
He needs to get Chad some. He going to get whooped.
We got Dawn coming back
Tennessee
in.
Matt.
Got Dawn coming back in at $4.99.
Dang, Dawn's hot
Lord,
today.
Dawn.
Who was it last
Little
week?
Virgil.
Little Virgil.
Yeah, well, yeah, Virgil.
Dawn's hot today, son.
Dude, I said LV's active all through the week.
Dawn coming back in at $9.99.
Good night.
What's he saying?
Button might be stuck.
It said, "Morning, Chad, chili, cornbread, Exodus 25:22.
Dawn, you dropping it like it's hot. You making it rain up in here on the super chat, son.
Shotgun Rooster coming in at $2. Said electrolytes are what plants crave.
That's right, Shotgun Rooster. You right? What, you raise game chickens?
Put him in that soul.
ACS 92 come in at $4.99. Here's some money, Chad. Do you have any tips to growing a perfect beard?
ACS 92 tips to growing a perfect beard. Let it grow, man. Look, that's the tip. All these folks is going to tell you, oh, you need to trim your beard. look, if you want a long beard, trimming it is not going to help you get a long beard. But everybody's like,
That makes it shorter.
all your your ends are split and breaking and all. Trim it, it'll grow longer. That is ridiculous. Just let it grow, man. Just let it grow. Don't put nothing in it. Look, don't wash it either. Don't be washing your beard every day and stuff. Wash it about once every 2 weeks. Let it grow. Let your natural oils get in it.
Let it grow and let it go.
Yeah.
There you go. Sheldon Hoyt coming in at $20 said, "Where you at, little Virgil? Semper Fi and
Sheldon.
stay frosty."
Everybody
Operators.
calling little Virgil out, son.
Got Al Wismiller, $10.
Thank you, Al.
Dang.
Garrett coming back in at $19.99.
Gosh, Garrett.
Dang, son.
I
Garrett
just
making
need-
it rain.
He said, "I just need to keep training. I just need to keep training maybe the people I can trust.
Yeah.
If anyone cancels for the basic course in May, holler at me. I'm always ready."
All right.
Roger that.
Keep that in mind.
We got Tomp coming back in, $1.99. My podcast is called the Open Mind Podcast.
The Open Mind Podcast. Tomp. All right,
right.
I'm writing that down.
LS coming in at $9.99. Love you guys. Nuff said.
Thank you, LS.
We got
Love you, LS.
Don
Luxury sport.
coming back in at $4.99.
Night, Don.
He said this is for the goat father in his struggle against his nemesis, Sammy the Bull and Cud Leons.
Oh, my God.
Dude, we might need to hire Don on to write some script, man.
Yep.
I like that, Don.
Yep. And right now, that's the end.
All right, guys.
All
Well, we appreciate y'all tuning in, and Lord willing, we'll be back to talk to y'all next week with some new stories and new conversation. We love you guys. Enough said.